What is up, everyone? Today is Tuesday, which means that it's time for another live Q&A. As always, I'm your host, Paul J Lipsky, here to answer any dropshipping questions that you might have. So this is a time for you. If you watch any of my other videos, I go pretty in depth into how to dropship onto different marketplaces like eBay and Facebook Marketplace. If you remember one of my courses, it goes much more step-by-step in there. But if you have any questions about what I cover that isn't covered in one of those videos, this is your chance to ask those questions. I do these every single week for you. So make sure you tune in. I do them Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to jump into the chat in just a moment, start answering some of these questions. But if you're here, say hi, give the video a thumbs up, and let me know where in the world you are chiming in from. I'm here in beautiful Colorado. All right, let's see who's here. We have Bob and Jen here back in the live stream. What's up, guys? Saying our state is still backed up and waiting since January for the license. Always just get a recording. Looking forward to starting because we learned lots from your course and Q&As. Awesome. Yeah, so sorry to hear about that. I mean, outside of our control. I mean, I have some paperwork actually with the state of New York right now that's being held up. And you can't reach anyone over there. You have no idea where it is, and you're just kind of like waiting for it. So I definitely feel that pain. It stinks that you're not getting started because of it. You can't get started because of it, but it will be worth it once you get it, and you'll be able to hit the ground running because you'll be doing so much research and so much learning because of it. A lot of people, they don't wait to. So what Bob and Jen did was they decided to set up their business with their state before they even got started with dropshipping. That's not strictly necessary. Most people, I would say, in fact, don't do that. But there are a lot of benefits to doing it that way if you're willing to take the time. Unfortunately, with some states, like their state, it's taken a long time for them to be able to do that, to get the paperwork through. Other states, it might be a lot quicker. So, that's things. I've done it in a lot of states. New York took a long time. When I did in Florida, it wasn't too bad. Colorado wasn't too bad. But I feel like a lot of the Northeast states, they got a lot of paperwork going on over there. So it's a reason why a lot of people don't do it. All right. Great question from Cred. Cred says, Paul, when dropshipping from Walmart to Facebook Marketplace, would you suggest starting out listing break-even products first to help boost sales for first-time listings, or just go right into listing profitable items? For Facebook Marketplace, I don't find it's necessary to do those initial steps of listing items at break even just to try to generate some sales. That's really more of a strategy for eBay, and because of the way eBay's algorithm is set up. On eBay, they really want to make sure that when you start selling, that you're able to handle your orders. So they're not going to give you a lot of sales at first. They're not going to send you a lot of traffic at first. With Facebook Marketplace, we haven't seen that to be exactly the same. So I don't really see that being necessary on Facebook. You could just start listing items that are profitable right away. But certainly on eBay, that's a good strategy. So what that strategy involves is, eBay, they want to build trust with you before they send you a lot of traffic. So at first, you're not going to get as much traffic as someone who's already been around and selling items. So that stinks, but it's just kind of like a, I don't know, you think of it like a hazing process, right? You just got to get through it, and then they'll start sending you traffic. So the way you get through that is by selling cheaper items at more of a break even, like closer to break even. So that way you're able to turn out these products quickly. eBay sees that and they say, oh, look, Cred there, he's doing good on eBay. He's getting orders, he's fulfilling them, he's being a good seller. We're going to send him more traffic now. So that's what you're trying to aim for with eBay. So in the beginning on eBay, I don't see it's necessary. It is sometimes necessary to go through those extra steps, but I don't see that as being really necessary on Facebook Marketplace. Thanks for checking in. Welcome. Mr. Capital says, is it still possible to do Amazon to eBay dropshipping? Are there any ways to get around the account bans? So the account bans that Mr. Capital is talking about are not eBay banning people for doing this. It's Amazon banning you for doing this, shutting down your Amazon accounts. So that's a good thing because it's pretty easy to start a new Amazon account for the purpose of buying stuff. And it really only happens if you're dropshipping using Amazon Prime. If you dropship without Prime, that's not going to be an issue. I've also heard, although I haven't had a chance to test this yet, is dropshipping using Amazon Business Prime, I've heard may work. In other words, you might not get banned as easily by Amazon if you're using Amazon Business Prime. So that's something I've heard, but I haven't gotten a chance to test. But certainly dropshipping without Prime at all, we've seen to work. Steven says, hey, Paul, what should I do about listings that have watchers on eBay? Any tips you can provide to help convert watchers into customers? Yeah, I don't concern myself too much with watchers on eBay. There's a few reasons for that. I haven't really seen there's much we can do to convert them into buyers. So what these are if you look at a listing on eBay, you can add it to your watch list so that when you return to eBay, you can just go to your watch list and look at, all the items that you were recently interested in that you've added to your watch list. And I guess the thought is that, well, maybe you're not ready to buy it now. You have to think about it. So you add it to your watch list. Or maybe you're like, this is just like a little bit too expensive. I'm hoping they lower the price. And if they do, I want to know about it. So, oh my goodness. Excuse me. So I'm going to add it to my watch list in case it goes down in price. So I'll get notified about it. So that's kind of the purpose of a watch list on eBay. And one thing that does work is if they're on the watch list, if your product's on their watch list and you lower the price, then that does kind of give them an incentive to actually purchase it. But as dropshippers, it's hard to really lower the price too much. For myself, I know I price all my items at the same markup. So I don't really concern myself with trying to do discounts or reducing prices like that because there's not a ton of wiggle room in there. I set them at the price for a reason, and there's not much I can do there as a drop shipper. But if you're early on and you are trying to generate some sales, then yeah, you can try lowering your prices if you have the room to do that, just to try to get some sales in. Kind of like what we talked about before, where you're just trying to generate those first few sales or so. I Am Law says, hi, when you're hiring VAs to fulfill your orders, how can you be sure that they will not misuse / sell customers' personal data? I guess there really is no way to be 100% sure of that. It's the same thing that you do when any company hires someone, right? You have employees at the bank, and the bank employees have access to a lot of information about you when they open up your account. And when anytime you go in to deposit money, they see a lot of information about you, how much money you have in the bank, your address, all that sort of stuff. Anytime you call in to customer service for any website that you buy something from, the representatives there will have that information right in front of them, like your shipping address and your billing information and all of that. So it's the same thing with any sort of employee that exists in any company. So I don't think it's a special case here just because we are hiring virtual assistants. I think it's the same kind of threat model that can exist for any company hiring. What is up, Christian, in Kentucky? My bad there. What is up, Stacy in Portland, Oregon? Safe says, Autodesk is really expensive add-on, and I know that to unlock price and stock tracking, which is really important when drop shipping, it's really expensive. Are there any cheaper alternatives? I use Autodesk. I like it. I don't think it's too expensive. They have multiple levels of plans. So for those of you, I'm sure most of you know, but Autodesk is what we use to do price and stock monitoring. So we put the item into Autodesk, it lists it onto eBay for you. And then if the price changes on your supplier's website, it will automatically change on eBay, or if the item goes out of stock, it will automatically go out of stock on eBay. So that's what it does. it saves you so much time. So I think it's worth the money. I don't think it's too expensive at all if you're trying to run a business. Just kind of by comparison, similar software for selling on Amazon is about 4 times the price, more than that. Like when I was doing a lot of selling on Amazon, I had one software that cost $100 a month, another software that cost $100 a month, and then some other software as well. And all in, I was paying like close to $300 a month in software for Amazon. And for eBay with AutoDS, you can get it going for like $30 a month, less than that. So I think it's really reasonable for what you get. As far as cheaper alternatives, not really. You can look at what's it called? SKUGrid. I don't know what their pricing is like recently. That's the other one that I have the most experience with, SKUGrid, but they're not very user friendly. So you can look at that one. But those are the kind of the only ones that have a lot of experience with that still work. Nice. Thank you so much. No, appreciate it, but I got someone who does them for me. Joshua says, do I need to get tax exemption form for each state to Amazon to eBay dropshipping? You don't. So you don't need to get any tax exemption forms to dropship from Amazon to eBay. You can just start doing it, start buying stuff from Amazon to sell on eBay, but you will pay sales tax on it. So if you want to get sales tax exempt, then you will need to apply with, usually most people start with their home state. So you want to apply with their home state to get a sales tax license. And usually with that, depends on the state, but usually with that number alone, you can get tax exempt in multiple states with Amazon. So you have to start the process on Amazon and figure out what it needs for your state. Every state's going to be different. So I can't really give like a clear answer on this. It really depends on your state, and I don't have all the states memorized. But once you start the application on Amazon, it'll tell you exactly what you need. And if you want to be in multiple states tax exempt, you can choose all the states you want, and it'll tell you what you need for all those states. So you can kind of go through that process and kind of like fiddle around until you find like what's a sweet spot between doing too much work and getting the benefit of as many states being exempt as possible. I go over that in depth in my course, so you can kind of don't have to fiddle around with it, but that's kind of the way to do it on your own. George says, is your eBay dropshipping course available? I want to start. I'm already doing Facebook Marketplace dropshipping. Yes. Yeah, my eBay course is always open for enrollment. So you can just go to dropshippingtitans.com and you'll see a button in the middle that says, hey, join the eBay course. You can click on there and get more information. Appreciate it. I've been doing good. Oh no, you weren't talking to me. Well, I hope you're doing well. Appreciate it, man. Christian says, do you think it's worth it to dropship on Poshmark? What's the best and what marketplaces should we use? No, I wouldn't dropship on Poshmark. Poshmark is very against people dropshipping onto Poshmark, and they're very strict with it. So as soon as they see you shipping from different addresses, they'll shut you down. They won't let you sell on there anymore. So dropshipping to Poshmark, I should say, is a no-go. It doesn't work. Enzo says, do you prefer CJ dropshipping or AliExpress? So CJ dropshipping and AliExpress, they are generally thought of as websites that you dropship items from China. I'm not the biggest fan of dropshipping from China, although I'm starting to warm up to it, to be honest, because I've seen it's gotten a lot better. But let's just stick with US suppliers for now, for the sake of the argument. For sake of argument, there are warehouses available on CJ Dropshipping and AliExpress that are based in the United States. In other words, when you order those items for your customers, they're going to get to your customers quicker because they're going to ship from warehouses in the United States. It's going to be faster, or in North America. So that's really nice. I like that. I've tried drop shipping from both. I tend to like CJ drop shipping better than AliExpress. I just find it's a little bit easier to work with and better customer service, and just overall just kind of better for drop shippers. But they're really, when you get down to it, when you're just sticking with the US warehouses, they're very, very similar. The differences are pretty minute, in my opinion. But yeah, I think it's they're both pretty close when you drop shipping from US warehouses. Borna says, want to thank you for your weekly lives. My pleasure. All the items I've dropshipped from Amazon to eBay have been the wrong item. How can I avoid that? How do returns work? Yeah, so that requires due diligence on your part before you even list the item. So it sounds like what's happening, Borna, is you're finding items. Well, I don't know. I don't exactly know how that's happening to you, because what the process should be like is you find an item to sell. There's a few different ways to do that, but basically at the end of the day, you're going to find an item on Amazon that you want to sell. Like, let's say it's this water bottle. You find it on Amazon. Once you have that, you can list it to Amazon just by putting this item. My mind is all over the place today. You can list it on eBay by just grabbing the item's URL from Amazon, plugging it into AutoDS, and now it's going to list that item for you. So it's going to be an exact match between the item on Amazon and the item on eBay. Once the item sells on eBay, you just come back to AutoDS, look up that item, and then you click on it, and it'll bring you over to Amazon to order it. So there should be no discrepancies between what you've listed, what you sell, and what you buy to fulfill that order. The only way that can get messed up consistently is probably if you're not using a software, not using it correctly. So you list an item with AutoDS, it's going to be an exact match. But then if you're not returning to AutoDS when you fulfill the order, and you're just looking it up on Amazon and pretty much guessing which one is the right one, then you might run into that issue where it's not a match between what the customer ordered and what they get. Short of that, do customers get the wrong item sometimes, even when you do everything correctly? Yes, but it's extremely rare these days, especially with Amazon. Amazon's system is really, really good. You see it more often with Home Depot. You don't really see it a lot with Walmart, but on Amazon, it's really rare that the customer gets the wrong item. So I just check your whole process, your whole standard operating procedure. Make sure you're listing directly with AutoDS. Make sure you're going back there when you're fulfilling orders. And then make sure, I guess the last part of that is make sure that if you're fulfilling the orders and you're doing it manually, that you're entering the right address when you're ordering. You know, if you have like 10 orders for the day and you get them all jumbled up, well, that's on you because you're shipping the wrong item to the wrong customer as well. So just go through them one by one just to stay organized using the exact system I kind of ran by you. What is up, Robert? Geraldo has another question about tax exemption. We kind of covered this, but I'll go into this a little bit more. So how do you become tax exempt? So every website, Walmart, Amazon, and Home Depot that allows you to become tax exempt has a different process for it. But again, it all starts with you applying to get a sales tax permit from at least one state, and it's usually the state you live in. So go on Google, search for the name of your state, and then sales tax exemption or states, collect sales tax or something like that. You'll usually find an article or resource on your state's website that explains to you how to actually apply for a sales tax license. So that's what you want to do. That's the first step. And then you can move on and go on these websites and they'll tell you exactly what they need. Or again, inside my course, I tell you exactly what you need for that. Without sales tax exemption, you can be profitable. You can still sell, but you're going to be at a huge advantage if you get sales tax exemption. That's why I cover it and spend a lot of time on it inside my course. Michelle says, is the price for a virtual assistant still about $2 an hour or has it gone up? So Michelle, it depends. It depends. $2 an hour, well, actually I'll say $2 an hour in general is too low to pay a virtual assistant, but the going price depends. So if you, again, for those of you who don't know, a VA stands for virtual assistant. So these are individuals that we hire to help us run our online businesses. And the great thing about them is that they live in other countries like the Philippines, usually the way that we do it. You can hire a virtual assistant that's based in the United States, but usually we're hiring them from other parts of the world. And when you hire them from there, the reason it works is because our business is entirely online. So if you have internet access, you can help run the business, which they do. So $2 an hour is I think too low at this point with like inflation and all that other stuff. But you can negotiate the rate with them. If you hire from websites like Upwork, it's going to be a lot more. And that's because Upwork, when you pay the money to Upwork. Upwork takes a cut of it and then gives the rest to the virtual assistant. So they have to charge more, the VA. If you hire through like online jobs, which is where I hire all my VAs from, you pay the virtual assistant directly. So the wage is actually going to be lower, but the virtual assistant ends up getting the same or more for that. So for that, you can get closer to $2 an hour, but not quite as much. And it also depends on their experience, how long they've been with you. So the longer virtual assistants work for me, the more I tend to pay them because they understand my entire system. I want to keep them on board. I had another virtual assistant I just hired a couple of weeks ago to help me with a small project. And I paid her closer to about $3 an hour because it was like a one-off thing. It was simple, didn't require like a lot of training. And it was just like a quick thing. There we go. Zarat says, do you think it's still possible to become profitable dropshipping from Amazon to eBay? Won't there be oversaturation with many other dropshippers ordering from Amazon too? So there are a lot of people doing it, Zarath, but there are so many products on Amazon and there's so many products being added every day, which is why I don't think it will ever become oversaturated for that reason. But if that's what you're worried about, then there are plenty of other suppliers to look at. Home Depot and Walmart aren't probably as saturated. And then we have other suppliers like we talked about CJ. We talked about AliExpress, U.S. warehouses. There's Banggood U.S. warehouses. There's a lot of other suppliers, Overstock. You can do wholesale suppliers. There's so many different options. And Amazon to eBay is kind of an easy way to get into it. You can learn how it works. Then you can go off and do some of these other suppliers. But yeah, I think in general, dropshipping just can't become saturated because there's so many new products being added on all these different websites all the time. Is there any particular way you mitigate the risk of that as much as possible, or do you just accept the risk? So that's on you. One thing that you can do is if you set up your AutoDS account to automatically fulfill orders for you, then the virtual assistant won't have as direct access to that information like their shipping address, because all of that will just be done by AutoDS automatically. Sweet. Congrats, Joshua, saying, I've been following for a few months. My store has grown. I generate about 30 to 40 sales a day. Thanks for the tips. Way to go, Joshua. That's awesome. So excited to see that. Michelle says, do you sell more wholesale now since you started drop shipping, or do you still do both retail and wholesale? I do both. I do more retail. Retail is just easier to scale. In general, what I've noticed over the past like 5 or 6 years of doing this is that there's just things ebb and flow. So I did wholesale. When I started, it was really strong and it definitely works, but retail was just able to scale up so much quicker because with wholesale, the difficulty is finding wholesalers, getting contracts with them, and getting contracts with good wholesalers. When you get it, it works well. But with retail, it just can scale up so quickly because anytime you need to add new products, just go over to Walmart, just go over to Amazon, see what new products they have, and now you have access to all of those products. So it's just so much easier to scale up retail compared to wholesale. So like I was saying, over the years, things have come and gone. Some things were really good for a while and then stopped being as good. Like I used to drop ship from Lowe's and it was really good, but that stopped working. I was drop shipping on Amazon and that was really powerful. Now it doesn't work as well. It's not as easy, I should say. Tried and true, the thing has been around the longest, drop shipping on eBay from retail stores. I just keep coming back to it as the thing. Yes, there are times when other things I'm doing are making more money than that, but it always just comes back to eBay dropshipping, retail dropshipping. The thing that just consistently always seems to work one way or another if you're willing to put in the work and learn what works and adapt to it. I just found it to just be kind of like tried and true. So dropshipping from wholesale suppliers, it's your responsibility to find those suppliers. I can't give them to you because that's part of the kind of trade secret. If I reveal to you what my wholesale suppliers are, then they will become saturated. It's easy for a wholesale supplier to become saturated because they usually have fewer products that end up being popular. Amazon has so many products and so many products that are popular. It's basically like infinite. But with wholesale suppliers, you might find a wholesale supplier and they just might have like 5 products that you end up selling consistently. Like that's very common to see. So if you now reveal what your wholesale supplier is, even if 10, 20 other people find it, or 50 or 100 or thousands of people like on this YouTube channel, then it's not going to work anymore. That's going to be too saturated because there's such a small pool to pull from of successful items. So you have to go out and you have to find wholesale suppliers yourself. And so that way you don't have to deal with the competition because you'll be one of the few or the only people selling it. I don't know what that is then. You have to look into that, make sure the items are matching up correctly because that should not be happening. Does Zeke Analytics plan to add Home Depot to their supplier list? So they don't have it? I'm like, so for some reason I thought I'm like blanking on whether they actually do or not. I'll take your word for it that they don't. I know they do AliExpress. I know they do Amazon. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess they don't do Walmart. And they do Walmart. I'm sorry, they don't. See, my brain's not working today. They do Walmart. They do AliExpress. They do Amazon. Right, but they don't do Home Depot. So when I say they don't do Home Depot, all I mean is you can still find Home Depot items on Zeke Analytics very easily, but they have this additional benefit where you can actually, when items come up, you can click on it and it will scan like CJ Dropshipping is another one, AliExpress, Amazon, to try to find a match on those websites for the same item. And they don't have that for Home Depot. I don't know if they plan to add that. I wouldn't be surprised, but I haven't talked to them about that, so I don't know. Does tax exempt expire? Yes, it does. but I don't know when. So yes and no. I think is probably a better answer, because some suppliers will make you resubmit every few years, but others don't. And your sales tax license for some states, you might have to just renew it every once in a while as well. I'm not sure of the numbers on all that stuff. So look at it for your state. Actually, if you got a sales tax permit from your state, it should say it right on there when it expires, if it does. And the supplier will let you know if when theirs is expiring, the tax exemption. Business Wings is banned on eBay and Mercari. Are there any marketplaces I can recommend? Well, first, try to get your eBay account back. Sometimes you can get it back. Usually, most suspensions are just temporary. Kind of a pain in the butt, but it happens rarely, and when it happens, you can usually get it back. If it is permanent, then you can look at dropshipping on Facebook Marketplace is what I would recommend. Take a look at it. It's a really good place to dropship, or you can even dropship on Amazon, although, like I said before, that's a bit more difficult. Is dropshipping on Facebook Marketplace dead? No, it's not. It definitely is not as strong as it was when we started doing it, like a year and a half, 2 years ago. But it's not dead. And what products should I list? I have plenty of videos on YouTube about how to find items to dropship on Facebook Marketplace. Just look at that, because I go really in depth. I show examples of how to do it. How can I boost my eBay sales? I made a video about this recently, so check it out. How I fixed my slow eBay sales with some simple tricks. Check out that video, because that will tell you exactly what I did or what you can do. Yeah, if you haven't been doing much with your Facebook account and your items have just been sitting there, then I would go ahead and delete them and you kind of start fresh. That way you're getting in items. You'll also be adding items that people actually want right now instead of old ones. I mean, those items might be like Christmas items at this point. Why don't you hire virtual assistants from Pakistan or any other country? I have in the past. I do. But I like Online Jobs, the website, and Online Jobs only pulls in applicants from the Philippines. That's the way it's set up. I haven't found like a similar website to that for everywhere around the world that has the reputation of Online Jobs. So yeah, again, Upwork, you can do that, but I don't like hiring from Upwork, because when you hire from Upwork, you're not hiring the virtual assistant. You're paying Upwork to let them lend you the virtual assistant. It's like a kind of a way to think about it. I don't like that. Like, I want the virtual assistant to work directly with me. I'll pay them directly. We'll have a direct relationship. I like that a lot better. And they get 100% of the money I send them. Gerardo says, how much is your course? Do you go over product research on Zeek Analytics? I know you talked about AutoDS, which is what I'm using as my lister. Yeah, so I do go over product research with Zeek Analytics inside my eBay course, if that's what you're talking about. That course is $297. There's no closing date for that. It's just always open for enrollment. So you can go to the link in the description below for that. Or again, just go to dropshippingtitans.com and you'll see a button that says join the eBay course, and you can get more information there. Do you think I'll start listing products right away if I watch your videos for listing on eBay? I'm not sure I follow you 100%. With eBay dropshipping, it's pretty simple, but there are a lot of like pitfalls that you can run into, things you need to watch out for. So definitely want to make sure you do your research beforehand. Like, watch a bunch of videos if you're trying to do it for free, but again, inside my course, like I cover everything, every sort of problem you can run into so that you don't run into those issues. So yeah. What's the difference between marketplace and pro seller on Walmart? So Walmart is technically a marketplace the same way Amazon is. Though most people don't think of that or know that. So what that means is that when you see items for sale on Walmart, most of those items are being sold directly by Walmart, meaning Walmart has it in stock in their inventory, and if you buy it, they'll ship it themselves from their inventory. But it's also a marketplace, meaning you or I could apply to sell on Walmart. I wouldn't try it if you're trying to do drop shipping. It doesn't really work. A lot of people got kicked off for it. Well, I should say it does work. It's just really hard. A lot of people did get banned from selling on Walmart for doing it. But you can sell on Walmart, is what I'm trying to say. So if you're on Walmart and you see things being sold by marketplace sellers, that means that it's not being fulfilled by Walmart directly. This is an item that's being sold by a third-party company. Usually for drop shipping, I say stay away from those items. Just stick with the Walmart items, so that there's really more of a guarantee that the item's in stock. It's going to be great customer service. It's going to be shipped out quickly, because usually the Walmart items will ship out much faster. I've been drop shipping for almost 2 months. I have 62 listings with 9 sales. I do everything manually without software for now. Should I be listing more? Or do you have any specific tips to get sales? Yeah, I do think you should be listing more, and I really think you should be using software to do that. So the 2 software I recommend, one is Zeek Analytics. That's going to help you find profitable items to sell. So that's number 1. With that software, you're going to be able to just hone in on which items are doing well on eBay so that you can sell similar items to those. And the second thing is, if you're using a software like AutoDS, then it will list those items. You'll be able to get items up faster. You don't have to worry about repricing and restocking, because all that is done for you automatically as well. And by the way, guys, if any of these recommendations sound good to you and you want to try out the software because of my recommendation, then you can always go in the description of my videos, and there's a bunch of affiliate links for these products. So like Zeek Analytics affiliate link, a link for AutoDS. It doesn't cost you anything extra to use those links, but by signing up with those links, you support this channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and I've made sure that you get the best deal possible with those links. So with both of those, you'll be able to sign up with a trial to try out Zeek Analytics and AutoDS for either free or just for $1, just to try it out. This sucks. I hate when this happens. It's very rare when you're dealing with really difficult customers like this, but it does happen. So Black God said, how would you handle a buyer that refused to return an item they claimed was damaged? They did a chargeback and their bank approved it. So eBay took my funds, even though I sent a return label. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It really sucks. The customers just are so uncooperative like that. I would reach out to your supplier, whatever the supplier is, and tell them it was damaged. Tell them it was damaged to such an extent that it can't be returned. It's like a mess, whatever it is. And then get them to refund you. So at least you're not at a total loss, because you'll get the refund from your supplier. I hesitate to tell you to do a chargeback with the supplier, because that's what was done to you, and you can see how much that sucks. But that's always an option as well. I answered this before, but the answer is no. You can look at SKU Grid, but I don't know what the pricing is for them, and they're not really the most user friendly. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this on Facebook at all. On eBay, it's not a bad idea just to kind of prime your account. but it's not strictly necessary. Just kind of if you want to be super conservative and safe. I've never used Worldwide Brand. Yeah, I plan to do some. I did do some small updates just to kind of keep things fresh and new, but didn't really announce them, so there wasn't really I didn't think it was a big deal. But I did update the lessons in eBay course about Zeek Analytics and about product research, I should say, because that has definitely shifted the way we do product research. So if you haven't looked in a while, I would check those out. Because there's been some updates to that, which are really important for 2023 and beyond. And I'll be adding some more stuff later in the year as well. But as you know, Michelle, we just did a huge migration where I moved my entire website, dropshippingtitans.com, to a new kind of, I don't know what's the word for it, hosting platform. The course now is on a new website as well. There's a lot of prep work that went into that. I was really surprised to see pretty much how smoothly it went. We had a small hiccup, but now I think everything's done with that migration, and everything seems to be working, which is I'm very happy about. I thought something for sure was going to break, and nothing really broke, knocking on wood here. So that took a lot of time and energy to get that done, but doing that migration was necessary because for some budgeting reasons. The old place we were hosting it jacked up their prices, and also this new option gives us this new system gives us a lot more flexibility to make the course platform and the website better as well. So all that was done, and now I'm going to start looking forward at some updates, just some small stuff to add throughout the year. But most of the stuff hasn't changed. That's why I haven't updated it. The product research stuff for eBay dropshipping is really important, and there was a change there. I should say it was an important change, so I did update the eBay course to reflect that. But a lot of the stuff is the same. It hasn't really changed the kind of core of it. It's just kind of these more technique things with product research, which is why that's been updated. And the other stuff I'll be adding is technique stuff as well. But kind of the bones of it haven't changed too much. Sander is here. Sander says, I live in Norway, Europe. Yes, Sander. I know where Norway is. Does the eBay dropshipping method work for me? What do I need to think about? Can you make a video for Europeans? So I hate that I have to give this answer, but I'm always trying to be honest here. I can't give great advice to Europeans trying to dropship on eBay because I didn't do that. I'm a US citizen here in the United States, and I was able to sell on eBay.com, right? Starting all that from Europe is going to be more difficult. It is more difficult. It is possible, but it's more difficult. So I don't have great advice for that, to be honest. It is easier in the UK and gets even harder when you go to other European countries. So I know it's not a great answer, Sander, so I apologize, but that's just the truth. It's just the truth. But it's cool that you're looking to do it. I was just reading an article about Norway, actually. It was talking about this idea called SISU, S-I-S-U. It's this Norwegian idea where it basically stands for, and there's not a clear definition of it that translates into English, but SISU is basically determination and grit. You really pushing to do the right thing because you know it's the right thing to do and the thing that has to be done. And I think this is really a part of Norwegian culture from what I hear, because the winters there are so brutal and so dark and so cold and so long. And so a lot of these people that kind of adopt this idea of sisu actually during the winter all year long will swim in the ocean, despite there being ice floating in there. And that's to kind of build up this fortitude. And then they bring that fortitude and that diligence and that grit to all areas of their life. You know, when they're building a business, for instance, and things are getting really tough, well, you need mental fortitude to get through that, and or as I call it, sisu. And I really like that idea, and it kind of like, I kind of want to put that on my wall, like sisu. Just always remember, like you got to keep pushing, and you got to like have that determination to do the thing that you know is the right thing to do. Either the right thing to do because you know it's going to better the world, or it's going to better yourself and is what you want out of life. So I don't know, Sander, if you've ever heard of sisu, but I was certainly really intrigued by that whole idea. And it kind of made me want to go to Norway and go swim in the ocean, to be honest. Try, Gerardo, if you're drop shipping Amazon to eBay, try looking for items, not the exact same item, but look for similar items. That way you don't have to deal with the competitors. If you see an item's doing well, find a similar one. Sweet. Michelle says, his classes cover everything you need to know about selling on eBay. I love it. I'm going to hire a VA soon. I bought the virtual assistant course too. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Yeah, it's really what it's designed for. Just kind of like an A to Z guide. Everything you need to be successful with dropshipping. What do I think about dropshipping from Sam's Club to Walmart Marketplace? Several issues with that, Donald. One, Walmart dropshipping there, like I said before, it is possible, but there's a really good chance your account will get banned. So that's first. Second thing, Sam's Club dropshipping from Sam's Club is possible, but very difficult because there's a good chance you'll get banned. Sam's Club will email you and tell you you can't order any more items this month because you've shipped to too many addresses. So there's like two problems right there. Those two problems present an amazing opportunity because that means there's going to be fewer people doing it. If you can figure out how to dropship from Sam's Club to Walmart, you're going to basically have no competition. So if you can figure it out, there is a great opportunity there. It's a good idea. So no one knows what goes into the eBay algorithm. We're just all guessing, to be honest, and just basing it off of experiments and experience. And in my experience, the more active you are, the more likely it is that you're going to get sales. And active in terms of listing items, fulfilling orders, answering customer questions, I think all that matters. So the more consistency you can get, the better. If I skip a question, it's probably because I've answered it before. Or answered it during the stream already. That I don't know about. Yeah, because I'm not from outside the USA. Sunny G says, hey, Paul. That just brought a smile to my face. Does having a virtual assistant for eBay help for automation, or is AutoDS enough? AutoDS should be where you start with automation because you're going to save so much time with that. Listing items will be faster. Repricing, restocking will be automated. Ordering items can be automated as well. So that alone should be where you start. That will save you a ton of time. But AutoDS can't do everything, and that's where virtual assistants come in. Start with AutoDS because it's so cheap compared to hiring a virtual assistant to do it. And then when you start to really have things take off and you need more help, hire a virtual assistant. They'll be able to put the items into AutoDS, do the product research and put them in. They'll be able to do customer service. They'll check AutoDS, make sure everything's working, like all that sort of stuff that you're doing as a human because AutoDS can't. They'll do it for you instead. Without looking at your Facebook account, I don't know why that is. And without looking at your eBay account, I don't know why you've been suspended either. So I can't help with unfortunately, I can't help with specific questions like that without looking at your exact account and looking into it. Bodybuilding Hardcore says, all my listings don't have the free 2 to 4 day shipping green badge, even though I haven't changed my shipping policy. Do you have an explanation why? I've heard that can go away because if you are not, in fact, shipping them on time, or they're not being delivered on time, or you're not uploading tracking on time. So I've heard that if any one of those metrics kind of get off, then they're not going to put that badge on there anymore. But I'm not sure if that's 100% true. Black God says, I got all of his courses except the Amazon one because I haven't started selling there yet. But yes, Paul's courses are worth the cost if you want to get started fast in the right direction, in my opinion. Thank you. I appreciate that. So that's the other update I made, was to the Amazon course, the dropshipping onto Amazon course. That was something I did a lot of in 2018, Amazon dropshipping. I did that for a few years. And in 2020, I think, I stopped doing it. So I closed the course down because I didn't feel like I could have a course open that I wasn't still doing Amazon dropshipping. So I stopped the Amazon course. But I heard from so many people over the past couple of years that they wanted it. They wanted to learn it. They wanted access to it, even though I told them I'm not updating it because I'm not doing it. So I don't have like a ton of information to update it. And I also heard from a lot of my students that were still in it, that were still doing well with the information that it had in it. So I reevaluated it recently when I moved everything over to the new website. I decided to open the Amazon course back up, but I went through it, updated some things that I didn't know about to update it, like new software that's easier to use. So it's actually easier to get started with Amazon dropshipping now. And I also lowered the price of it because, again, I felt like I'm not going to be able to give as much value there because I'm honestly not dropshipping on Amazon at the moment. But at the same time, I know it works because my students are still doing well with it. So I wanted it open, but I lowered the price and updated it basically. And I don't even advertise it on the website. I think there's like a secret link to it somewhere for the Amazon course. All right. Thanks so much. About the green badge. Yeah. I think it has something to do with that, but do you know if it's reversible? I don't know, honestly. I haven't heard of anyone. I haven't followed up with anyone about it to know if it came back. So I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm trying to get started on eBay dropshipping. Do you have any advice or tips? Yeah, watch a lot of my videos. There's plenty of information about eBay dropshipping. So check out some of the videos. Tons of information. I wouldn't stress out about this too much though, because I don't think those things matter too much. You know, it's still gonna show up as free shipping and all of that. So I wouldn't stress out about it too much. All right. So that is it for, a couple questions here. Let's consider the worst case scenario. Customers getting the wrong items. Again, like I don't have any more, unfortunately, I don't have any other answer besides what I gave. I'm not sure why it's happening. You should contact Autodesk. You should look into what items were ordered, why it happened, if you have the right items inputted into Autodesk. I mean, that's what you want to be looking at, quite honestly. I'm using a VPN to manage my Stealth account. What VPN do you recommend? For that, I would look at IP Burger. Again, I think there's an affiliate link for that in the description. And with IP Burger, you want to get a fresh, dedicated VPN. You don't want to use a commercially available VPN service like NordVPN or really any of them, because they reuse the same IP addresses. And those IP addresses get kind of like black labeled. And so if eBay sees you creating an account from that IP address, they're going to be like, what's this person trying to hide? that they're using an IP address. It's just like another red flag. So that's what you would look at. We don't do paid advertising for Facebook for any sort of dropshipping that we do, because the marketplaces like eBay and Facebook Marketplace, they have a ton of items. They have a ton of traffic. So you don't really need to do that. Yeah, I have multiple Amazon buying accounts, so it hasn't been a problem. Oh, good question from Ali saying, I love your channel. I am thinking that I want to start dropshipping using Temu. What should I do? It takes 5 to 14 days. Stay tuned, Ali, because next week I'll be releasing a video where I talk about dropshipping from Temu. I'm doing an in-depth analysis into this. And so you'll get all the information next week. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to check out that video because there's some important stuff in there that I learned about Temu that you definitely want to hear about. All right, so that is it for this week. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out and for all the great questions. If you got any sort of value out of this video, please give the video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. And then join me next week for the next live Q&A. I do them Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Lots of resources down in the description, so check those out. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now.